there's a lot of rhetoric globally that AI is going to displace significant amount of jobs. I don't believe in that. Yes, there'll be some displacement. There's also a lot of opportunity.
The probability of you being replaced by AI is quite low. You're more likely to be replaced by a person who's trained on AI.
I've been in the industry for over 20 years and I've never seen anything like it. The pace, the scale, the impact is tremendous.
In the very near future, it is likely, in fact, happening already, that a manager will have an org chart where they have human reporting, but also virtual bots or virtual agents reporting to the same manager in a flatter organization.
AI is going to augment the workforce rather than displace. And the domain expertise of every worker, regardless of the functions that you're doing, whether you're in marketing, in business, in HR, in finance, the domain expertise coupled with AI is going to be the secret sauce to unlock value.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to TChats, Building the Future series where we explore big shifts shaping our workforce, industries, and economy. I'm Tian, CEO of Singtel Singapore, and with me today is someone who's at the forefront of Singapore's digital transformation. Welcome, Kiren Kumar, Deputy Chief Executive at the Infocomm Media Development Authority of Singapore.
Thanks for having me, Tian Chong, and good afternoon to you. And thanks for having me on this chat. Exciting times that we're living in, with AI's disruption and all that's going on, and Singtel is doing a lot in that space.
Indeed, there's a lot going on in this space, and really appreciate you coming here today, because today what I like to do is to dive into how AI, as we all implement AI, is creating new rules, how they are augmenting the human capability and unlocking productivity at the rate that we've never seen before.
Thanks again, Tian Chong. So, we launched our national AI strategy about 2 years ago, and ChatGPT came out 3 years ago. And obviously, AI is on every executive's mind, every worker's mind, and every country leader's mind, because this technology is going to be transformative. And I've been in the industry for over 20 years, and I've never seen anything like it. The pace, the scale, the impact is tremendous. Singapore is responding in many ways. As we launched our national AI strategy, IMDA is really the architect of Singapore's digital economy. And among the many things that we do, there are two key priority areas for us. One is, how do we drive digitalization across every sector and every company? And how do we build skills in every worker in the workforce to ensure that companies and the workforce are moving in tandem to benefit from the technology and the benefits that it provides? When it comes to AI, I believe that this is a continuation of the digitalization journey that Singapore has been on. Today, about 19% of our GDP is coming from the digital economy. Every bank, every telco, every consumer company, every manufacturer, even the government has digitalized significantly over the last 10 years. And I think this moves that we have made over the last decade in every industry and every company is going to be the prerequisite for us to play in the AI space.
But Kiren, I want to ask you one thing, right? As you talk about this rapid adoption of AI, one thing that accompanies that is about the workforce transformation. And what I want to discuss with you about is the fact that today, in my own experience, as we are rolling out AI, the discussion is evolving to one where I'm telling my team members that, look, you don't feel threatened.
Yes.
And the discussion is kind of shifting to one where we're saying that, look, please get yourself acquainted with, familiar with, and trained on AI and AI tools. And the probability of you being replaced by AI is quite low. You're more likely to be replaced by a person who's trained on AI.
That's right.
So therefore, let's get going on it. It's kind of like in that mode now. And we essentially saying that, look, AI isn't here to replace you. It is here to support you.
That's right.
Narrative that we're building. I'd like to hear your views on that as well.
No, I'm a firm believer. I mean, there's a lot of rhetoric globally that AI is going to displace significant amount of jobs. I don't believe in that. Yes, there'll be some displacement. There's also a lot of opportunity. What does that mean? I truly believe, and I agree with you, that AI is going to augment the workforce rather than displace. And the domain expertise of every worker, regardless of the functions that you're doing, whether you're in marketing, in business, in HR, in finance, the domain expertise coupled with AI is going to be the secret sauce to unlock value within this space. So if you look at the first inning of our AI strategy, we were very focused on building AI practitioners, what we call specialists in the country. We wanted to build 15,000 of them in companies like Singtel and the banks and many others, so that they can build and deploy enterprise-grade AI systems at scale. And Singapore's position globally is if we can use this technology to transform our industries and business flows, we can drive productivity and innovation to unlock value.
Okay.
That's really our positioning, right? And in order to get there, the next phase of our strategy is no longer just about focusing on a few very high-end technology skills to build and deploy systems. We need to create a movement, AI for all. The entire workforce needs to be upskilled, and really in two areas. Everybody needs to be having basic AI literacy to use the tools responsibly in their function and in their domains. But we also need to build AI fluency. Fluency, there's a distinction. How can we empower everybody in the workforce who is a domain expert, who's not a technologist? But the beauty is today, this technology is natural language. It's no longer intimidating to actually use it. But not just use it, actually tweak your workflows, use the technology to actually transform your operations. Sure. And therefore, we're going to be embarking on significant amount of programs with companies like yourselves and across the ecosystem to uplift a lot of job functions.
I'm familiar of programs like TISA, the tech skills,
That's right.
That we work on. But why don't you tell me more about how you shape these programs to actually support what you just said?
That's right. So as we were driving the digital economy over the last 10 years, we set up a tech skills accelerator because not just the technology sector, but every company required technology skills. Fun fact, 5 years ago, we had 150,000 technology workers in Singapore. Today, we have 220,000. And 60% of them actually work in the non-tech sectors. So I think that goes to show that the entire economy is digitalizing. Now that job will continue for TESA, and we've been working with the likes of Singtel and many others in what we call company-led training to actually create opportunities and put them in jobs and train them on the job. AI is going to be no different. AI is actually a lot more of a context sport. It's not something that you sit down in a class for 3 months and learn about it.
Sure.
You need to put the tool in the hands of your workers so that they can use it and get more conversant with it. The next phase of our programs, we're going a lot broader. How do we enable AI fluency for new functions, not just technology workers, but for marketeers, for lawyers, for HR professionals, for coders, and many more. We are working with the industry leaders as well as industry associations to embark on short-form programs to upskill them, put the tools that are leading today in their hands to actually transform workflows on the job. Because I'm a firm believer that in this case, in the AI age, it's about adoption-based skilling. It's no longer just about skilling. It's like a language. You may learn Japanese, but if you never use it, you will lose it.
Sure.
So how do we enable the companies to adopt the tools and the workforce to train up in tandem at the workforce to actually uplift themselves?
And I can see what you're saying because at Singtel, we have benefited from the programs. And you're right, it does help us in a really big way to be able to uplift. Shifting gears a little bit, we talk a lot about how the employees, the training and all that. There's another thing that recently I've been working on, particularly with my HR team. So Kiren, we've been thinking a lot about, and there are three big things we're working on at Singtel. Today we're working on the value pools and the use cases across the company end to end. Second thing is working on the technology stack to achieve our AI ambition. And we're building a central kitchen of AI tools. But the third part is about the workforce transformation. And in the workforce transformation, beyond the training and cultural shift, we're thinking a lot about the role of HR and what the organization chart looks like as we deploy AI. So for example, keep it simple, we foresee that in the very near future, it is likely, in fact, happening already, that a manager will have an org chart where they have a flatter org chart with human reporting, but also virtual bots or virtual agents reporting to the same manager in a flatter organization. Therefore, when I'm talking to my HR manager now and the HR team, we're thinking about things like, number one, how will a job be scoped in the future? Is it by size and complexity in a flatter organization? Because traditionally, you talk about someone's job seniority based on the number of people reporting. But in the future, when that manager has got 60% of the workforce are virtual agents, 40% are humans, how do you scope the job? And then also we talk about when we're hiring someone, instead of looking at just the sequential experience or tenure, there also be skills-based and that combination. So these are some of the more recent thoughts that are starting to shape the way we look at it, you know? I mean, do you
right.
see the same thing happening, and what are your views?
Yeah, so TC, we work with many large companies across the ecosystem in many industries, and we also work with a lot of mid-cap companies who are transforming themselves. So we actually have programs in place to work with the large as well as the mid-cap companies and SMEs to adopt these solutions. What we are seeing is in the boardrooms, this is exactly a discussion that's happening right now. It is still early days. I think people are starting to put their heads around it because agents deployed in enterprises are starting to happen, but it's still early days. So I think as agents adoption scales up, I think you're going to see clearly org structures that will look very different, like what you talk about. I don't have all the answers of what's that going to look like in real terms, but we are already seeing, even within IMDA, we have actually empowered the entire organization to actually use agents to actually simplify their domains and workflows. And they are the ones who are actually coding it and actually creating the agents and managing them. So I think that is going to just be a trend that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And for Singapore being a small country with limited resources, I think it's an opportunity for us of how can we do a lot more with the same. But I think one of the key mindset and cultural issues that I'm seeing on the ground at the leadership level is many companies around the world are actually looking at AI because a lot of pilots are going on. They're facing troubles to hit production at scale. Many reasons, ROI, making sure that the systems are safe.
Yes.
And the workers are trained. I think these are all the common problems. But I think if leadership does not drive a mindset and a culture in the organization that
Absolutely.
we are here to work on the business transformation and the workforce transformation hand in hand. It's not about deploying AI to reduce the workforce to justify an ROI. How do we drive that culture and mindset in leadership? And I think that is going to be a critical ingredient for countries, companies, and industries to actually move on this AI journey in a responsible way, in a way that is a win-win, not just for the business, but for the workers as well. And I think that will drive a lot of distinction and differentiation in our ecosystem.
Absolutely.
Hopefully.
In fact, like what you said, in my own experience, although Singtel we just started the journey, but we know enough now that the visioning, the leaders' belief, the culture shift, and we must be able to reimagine the workflow as well.
That's right.
Because if we just merely automate existing processes, we have some progress, but we're going to be capped.
That's right.
Right? We have to be able to reimagine, you know, so all this has to come together.
Yeah.
So I fully agree with you. I think that's really things that are starting to show up now. This fluency and understanding and the end-to-end vision needs to happen.
That's right. And then again, that domain expertise that many of your workers have built up through the years, whether it's in network orchestration, customer support, or any other function.
Yeah.
The AI is not going to replace that. The AI is going to augment it. And actually that domain expertise to drive what innovation looks like within that space, to make sure that you're using AI responsibly and knowing when it's hallucinating, to enhance the system and to ensure that it's a credible system for enterprises, because reputation matters.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, to your point, at Singtel, because we run critical infrastructure and AI in ops is really important to help us manage a very complex, multi-layered network. And when we have an issue, we are starting to now work towards a vision of what we call the 1-5-10 vision, you know, where we want within 1 minute know that there's an issue, within 5 minutes understand what the root cause is, and within 10 minutes have the fix in place. So AI in ops, along with machine learning, will help us to triage faster, right? And I think a lot of my network colleagues, even my IT colleagues, understand that, you know, in a traditional way with a complex situation, it's really hard to do those things in that time frame, right? So you need technology to help the humans, not replace the humans, but to be able to quickly come to those kind of a vision, right? To be able to execute it. Yeah,
that's right. And I think every company is going through this challenge or opportunity. And I think for Singapore, it is important that we are ahead of the curve and lean forward and try some of these techniques. And we may fail a bit here and there, but if we don't try, the challenge is that we'll be left behind. And competition is a global one. So whether you're a telco in Singapore or around the world, or you're a bank or you're a manufacturer, you need to keep up. And I think for Singapore, we have always leaned forward on technology transformations. And I think this is no different. I think we have the right ingredients. We are small enough. We have the policy support in place. Government is behind enterprises and industries. We're willing to work with all of you to transform. And I think this partnership is going to be this tripartite partnership of making the government, the businesses as well as the unions to come together to actually drive business transformation as well as the workforce transformation for a much better tomorrow where we stand for AI for public good.
Absolutely. I think you summed it well. In fact, for Singtel, that is exactly what we look forward to working on. This tripartite arrangement, we have a very unique position here, as well as being a technology leader to be able to move the needle, right, in this tripartite way, along with our unions.
That's right.
To figure out the best path forward on transformation, culture shift, plus employing technology.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think, Singtel has been a tremendous partner to IMDA and the Singapore government to drive a lot of these programs to upskill our Singaporeans. I was just looking at some of the profiles of individuals who have benefited from the programs that Singtel group of companies is driving. And there was this lady called Cheryl. She's a recent graduate. She's very young. She was a Uniqlo retail assistant. She joined one of the Singtel programs in our partnership, what we call a company-led training under TESA. And she trained on the job, and she has built a voice agent within Singtel, which is being deployed now. And it's amazing to see someone from retail background learning front-end coding, UI, UX, and actually driving bot development or voice bot developments within Singtel. So thank you for the support. And if Cheryl can do it, I'm sure a lot of us in Singapore can actually step forward.
That's very encouraging.
To actually benefit from this.
I think for all of us. So, Kiren, why don't I bring it to a close, right? I'll say that for me, AI is really transforming how we work. And I think as we had discussed, it's a lot about solving problems. In fact, in the AI world, we always say problems that can't be solved 2 weeks ago, there's always a solution now.
That's right.
Right? As fast as that pace, But it's really exciting for us. And so for us, this really brings us to a close of this episode of TChats. And Kiren, really thank you very much for your insight as well as sharing the initiatives from public sector and IMDA's perspective. So AI is transforming how we work and it's solving problems that we could not solve even 2 weeks ago. The pace is so fast, as you heard the discussion that I've been having with Kiren, and it's incredibly exciting. So this brings us to the end of this episode of TChats. Kiren, once again, thank you for sharing your insights and your initiatives. And more importantly, we understand your passion now. So audience, we'd love to hear from you. How has AI changed the way you work? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments and stay tuned for our next episode where we will continue our Building the Future series.